This?
Yeah.
Let's do this. Hey, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to another fabulous episode of Cafe BTW, a morning gaming podcast. And you might have heard, yes, we're on our third year, I believe, of this show. Can you believe it? Maybe not 3 years. Maybe it's like 2.5 years. But I'm Andy, your wonderful host, and your cohort today is Danny. The wonderful
Huh?
Danny, who from the TikTok world, you might know her. But Danny, how are you? Good morning.
Oh, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing good. And just so everyone knows, where are you located right now? Because this is a little bit of a time difference on this episode.
Yeah, it is. It's about four-ish here, I think. But I'm from England.
All right. And you are from, and you grew up in basically, and where, just to give people an idea, are you close to London? Are you outside London? Like, what's a good reference point for people here?
South Coast. So like right down the bottom by the beach.
Right by the beach. What's the beach like in the UK?
Horrible. There's no sand. It's all stones and the water's green. So
It's
yeah.
not like the wonderful beaches out here in California?
No, absolutely not. I think to call it a beach is an overestimate, to be honest. It is just stones and stinky water.
Well, I really appreciate you coming on. You are, I think, what I was trying to figure out, the third person from the UK to be on the show. Like in chat, we have Super Lit Mario, who was on the show. Also, there's a Twitter content creator named Games for You or Games for You. Yeah, I think that's the name. He's from the UK. We had him on the show a while back. We got Lost in the 80s and 90s. Will is in chat. What's up, Will? What's
Hello.
up? Welcome, everybody. So today's going to be a really interesting episode, Danny. We're going to talk a little bit about the main topic today, and I think it's just going to be a lot of rifting, but I really wanted to talk about the differences between, a person like me who grew up in the U.S., playing video games, collecting games too, versus someone that lives in the UK, growing up. What are those differences? We're going to talk about the PAL region versus my region and what it was like. And I always found it fascinating, the difference in regions when I was growing up and why there were so many regions. And now, as we know, things are more globally released, especially the Nintendo Switch is a good example of that. There's still different games, though. But to kick everything off, Danny, I got to put you on the spot because that's how we do this show. What I like to do is ask our guests a little bit about you when it comes to video games. What is a story you could share with us that kind of, goes back to your childhood potentially, that really sparked your love of video games and really shaped you as a gamer today? What is that connection for you?
Oh, you've really put me on the spot there, haven't you?
I warned you.
Yeah, you did. Probably I was about 6. So for those who know that, obviously I'm quite a young retro gamer. So obviously my first console was actually a PS1. So I kind of have got into it later on in life. But probably that earliest memory that I have, I used to stay at my nan and granddad's a lot. It's my grandparents, and I'm so annoyed that he actually has since thrown this away because I know it's worth quite a lot of money now. We used to play on the PC Doom, which is now one of my favorite games, but the floppy disk version. So it goes for quite a lot nowadays, but he's since thrown it away. But we used to do it together. He would do the shooting on the keyboard and I would do the movements on the other side, and I must have been about
cool.
I was quite young and probably a bit too young to be playing it, but that's what kind of sparked it all off. Yeah.
And when did you start actually? So Doom. So you're saying a PC game is kind of what opened up the door for you.
Yeah.
When was it that you started? Because we see a million games behind you. And I love your collection, by the way, and we'll get into that, everyone. I do want to say that, let me pull up your TikTok. One of the cool parts, I think, is you have an excellent collection, by the way. So tell us a little bit about that. How did that start for you? How did collecting games and really, over 4,000 games, am I right?
Yeah, I put my life and soul into this room. I live for it, really. But surprisingly, I haven't actually been doing it for that long. Probably been collecting for about 6 years, but religiously, I'm not joking. At the minute, the postman hates me. Um, Probably the last 2 years I've gone a little bit hard on it, but that's because of lockdown. I got myself in a better position with my job, so I've had the ability to do it. But because that's all the stuff I got today, and it's not just games as well. It's all sorts like 3D printed stuff and merchandise. It's everything. Like, yeah, probably in the last 6 years, I was quite lucky as a child to have quite a big collection anyway, but not this big. This is different.
And if you guys see in chat, we have her link tree in chat, and you could check out all of her socials and all of her crazy stuff. That's cool. So what system do you have the most? I think you said PS1, right?
Probably PS1, yeah.
Do you know roughly how many PS1 games you have?
Well, I know I'm aiming high, but I will do it. I know I will. I would like a full PS1 and 2 collection. I think at the minute I'm sitting on about 820 PS1 games.
Wow, that is impressive,
yeah.
Danny. That is quite impressive.
It's hard. It's a chore, but I've got that goal and I will get there. That's what I want to do. So there's about 150 behind me, and this room's not as big as it looks. I think it's portrayed to look bigger in videos, but a lot of it, I can't display it all.
Yeah, I mean, I think in my collection, much less than yours, but I think I'm over like maybe 1,200 games, I would think. But all my games are in bins, and unfortunately, I've complained many times on TikTok about that. But I hope to one day put things on a shelf like you. It looks really cool.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. But at least they're neatly in bins. I know you've shown me pictures previously.
Yes.
You store them so neatly. So at least...
They weren't always so neat, can I be honest with you? They weren't always so neat. I recently started putting them in bins correctly and safely, but there was a time where literally, Danny, I had games like stacked on my desk. Like I had my Sega Saturn games were stacked everywhere. And we're talking about, you've seen Saturn is probably the biggest side of my collection. And I had all these expensive Saturn games like scattered all over my desk, like all over the place. But now they're very comfortably situated in bins. So in chat, Will says, once you get immersed into it, it's like a ball that won't stop rolling. Collecting can be obsessive. Absolutely. Any type of collecting can be obsessive.
Yeah.
So there is Welsh Super Boss Slayer 86 in chat. I think you're a new chatter too. Welcome to the show. I appreciate you stopping by. Appreciate that. Sounds like you're in the UK as well. And yes, if anyone hits ! Danielle in chat, you should be able to pull up all of her links. Genzo, is that working? Shout out to Genzo. He's our mod in chat. Yeah, she's she or he. Sorry, I don't know if you're a he or she. Is from Wales. How far is Wales from you?
Not that far. Probably about a 4-hour drive.
Oh, that's kind of far.
Yeah.
I think any drive over an hour is far.
Oh,
no, I'm just kidding.
I would drive 4 hours just to go to a video game shop. So for me, that's light work.
So let's talk about that before we get into our topic, and a couple of things I wanted to talk about as well before we get into the topic. But what is purchasing games right now in the present like for you in the UK?
Expensive for a start. But there's only one game store within half an hour of me. And they've got one cabinet, probably the size of this behind me, with sometimes they do get good stuff, but I have to travel far to go to a good video game store. And I think you guys find it the same. It's getting dear, so it's expensive.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? Danny, you can't walk into a retro shop here in LA without spending more than $100 if you want to buy 2 or 3 games that are at least of decent quality or a game that people want. So I think that's the sad part of retro collecting right now. And that was like right before the pandemic. You could walk into a shop in LA and I could buy 5 or 6 games for under $100, right? Now, yesterday I got some pickups and I was able to buy about 3 games or so, but I try to budget under $100, but it's hard. And I guess
Yeah.
are the UK games a little bit more pricey in the UK versus America? I'm not sure how that changes.
Some titles I've seen are quite expensive over your way, but are like twice the price over here, and vice versa. So there's one game in particular which I believe is quite difficult to get hold of. Def Jam Fight for New York on the PS2.
Yes, I have it for the Xbox, believe it or not.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say that that's quite a difficult title
Oh
to get
yeah.
hold of. Over $100.
You want to know a fun fact about that game? Do you know who
Go on then.
develops that game?
No, who?
A lot of people don't realize this, but the people that developed the Def Jam wrestling game are the same people that did all the amazing Nintendo 64 games. So No Mercy, WCW versus Revenge. And a lot of people don't realize that was them that did the Def Jam game.
Really?
Yep. So
I didn't know that.
Yep, AKI, but they changed their name, but a lot of people don't realize that was their engine they used for that in a modern, like past the 64. Like, so I always tell people, like, don't forget that. And they were amazing on the 64 and what they did. And Welsh says definitely more pricey in the UK. I bet you it's worse, to be honest with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
So what about like as you were a kid? What was shopping for games like as a kid?
Much different. We had a store called Ross Records near me, and I always remember going there because and it probably wasn't that big, it was just where I was small. They had a massive statue of Lara Croft, and I would always just look up to it like, I just want to take it home. But back then, to buy that statue, and nobody ever bought it, was £1,000, and that was like 18 years ago. So since then this store has closed, but I just remember back then games would be like 99 pence to buy, which is a thing that you don't see nowadays. It was a lot cheaper and exciting, 'cause when my dad was alive, he used to take us like probably every fortnight to get a new game, and I grew up
Wait, whoa, you use fortnight in a sentence as a real vocabulary word. What does that mean? A fortnight is like the night before, or what am I don't know. I just know the game is called Fortnite.
A fortnight is every 2 weeks. So if you get paid fortnight, it's every 2 weeks.
That is so funny. I sound so stupid, but honestly, I know that it's an actual meaning, but obviously they use it for this video game, but it's funny to hear it used in like actual vocabulary. So I love it.
Yes. So every 2 weekly, there you go. My dad would take us, and I grew up really close with my brother, so we shared a lot of the stuff. And when it came to like us moving out, there was a lot of fights on whose was what, because we had games like Pokemon XD on the GameCube, and it was like, that's mine, and I was like, it's mine, but it was actually ours. So it was a case of who got that. But yeah, we shared a lot of the games growing up.
So in the U.S., I should start saying, I'll see you on the next fortnight, or is that what I say? It sounds so weird from like someone with my accent saying it. It sounds so much cooler and and appropriate when you say it with your accent.
So like if you've seen somebody in 2 weeks, you'd be like, I'll see you in a fortnight.
So I'll be like, hey, Will, you want to chill on the fortnight coming up or what? Yo, you hanging out on the fortnight?
In a fortnight.
You want to hang out in the fortnight on Fortnite? I love that. Will says, ask her about rubbish. What is
rubbish? It was just a thing the other night when I went live on TikTok, and we was talking about like what you guys say that is different to us. And I said the one that makes me laugh the most is that when you guys like take out your rubbish, your bins, trash at the end of the week or every fortnight, which ours is, you guys call them trash can mans, I think. Trash mans.
We call them trash cans, Danny. Yes, we call them trash cans.
No, but I'm talking about, there was a massive discussion about it, of what do you call the men that take them away?
Garbage men.
Because we call them dustbin men.
What? What are they called?
Dustbin men. Because
dustbin
it's a bin,
men. Okay.
and the bin man comes to take your bins away.
But you see, out here we put garbage out, and the garbage men come and get it.
yeah, I love how everything is just different and we say things differently, but they mean the same thing. It just makes me laugh.
That is really funny. Oh my God. I mean, that is, I've just never heard, you were the first person to use Fortnite in an actual sentence that doesn't have to
Oh,
do with
really?
the video game. So a new milestone reached on this show every week. And you just hit it. So thank you. But Danny, thank you so much for sharing about your history and stuff. I do want to mention, I got to do a little house cleaning here before we get into the topic. I want to talk quickly. Do you have any connection to retro gaming magazines, Danny? Did you read magazines as a kid? Do you collect magazines or anything like that?
I've got a few that I've accumulated over the years. You know, the old N64 ones that used to have like Turok cheats and stuff in. I've got a few of those, but they were more like books as opposed to magazines. And the PlayStation magazines I always used to get because I would always collect the demos.
Yeah, so I used to, obviously have subscriptions to Nintendo Power. I did read I think we had a couple of different magazines from UK to the US, but still the same idea, codes, cheats, new games that are coming out. But I did want to talk about, so a buddy of mine, his name is 8-Bit Steve. He is someone that is renowned in the speedrunning circle. So this guy, 8-Bit Steve, has over 200 records in retro gaming speedrunning, which is really cool. But what's really interesting is, obviously, Danny, in this digital age, a lot of these magazines have gone away. Nintendo Power stopped producing their magazine in I believe it was 2012. And what's really cool is I wanted to share this Kickstarter campaign that I am a part of. I'm going to be writing an article for this magazine coming out soon. It's called NES Pro, and I'm going to tell you what it's about. It's called NES Pro. Is a magazine focused and brought to you by NES professionals. We have NES lovers from all walks of life, every corner of journalism and content creation on the staff. The magazine will release quarterly, and you will be able to lock in first 2 issues for the year and additional to issues 3 through 6 for the next year in this campaign. So they've kicked off a Kickstarter. They're looking to hit a $10,000 goal. They have just released this 2 days ago, and they're already at 7,557. And what basically I'll be doing is I'll be writing an article. I don't know if it'll be featured in every magazine, but I'm planning on doing my first article. I don't want to give it away, but I'm really excited to be a part of it. I'm kind of becoming an ambassador for them because, Danny, I believe in magazines. I believe in going back to like that form and really giving love back to the NES. So I wanted to show a quick video that they're sharing with the campaign. And, I want to share this Kickstarter in chat. If you're interested in supporting the magazine that's coming out, it's going to be really, really cool. What's up, Mikey Loves Retro? Welcome to chat. Good to see you, man. And I'm going to play this video. All right, Danny?
Yeah, that's cool.
All right, cool. Let's take a look at this and give some props to these guys because I think it's really cool what they're doing.
Do you love the NES? If you answered yes, then this is the campaign for you.
It's a simple name, NES Pro.
This campaign is for a brand new NES-focused retro video game magazine
It's like
called
watching an old
NES Pro.
advert.
Yeah.
Like most of you watching this, we grew up scouring through Nintendo Power and GamePro as kids to get all the best tips, tricks, codes, reviews, and news about upcoming game releases. While the style of game magazine was great
I won't
in
play
the
the
80s
whole
and 90s,
video, but
it doesn't really do much for readers now.
Basically what he's saying is
And will feature
there's a missing, culture of video game magazines. So this magazine's going to be digital. It's also going to be physical, which is really the cool part. And this is the cover of the first magazine for NES Pro. And I believe it's going to be a bunch of different articles featured in the first issue. And then I am obviously on this Kickstarter. There's my lovely cartoon face. And my first article, I guess I'll spoil it, is going to be about my connection to TNC Surf Design, which is a game that I have a record in. Danny, I don't know if you know, but I've maxed out in that game. I did 999.99.99. Did I say too many nines? I don't know, but I applied for the record on Twin Galaxies, and I have one of 6 people to ever max out the score in TNC Surf Design that have submitted, for that approval. So I'm going to be talking about my connection to TNC Surf Design in the article, and also how I broke the record live on TikTok. So that was really, really cool. But yeah, I just wanted to mention this just so people could give it some love and appreciation. It's going to be called NES Pro, and I'm sure on my socials and all over, I'm going to be supporting it. And what do you think of that? Do you think that's a cool idea? You think that's cool that they're doing that?
Yeah, I think that's awesome. I really like the video. It was like an old advert.
Yeah,
That was really cool.
they made it fun.
Yeah.
But why don't we? What is this map here? Does this look familiar, Danny? What is this?
So, so you see right down the bottom, there's like the Isle of Wight, which is tiny. You'll have to zoom in a little bit. I'm on the other side, so I'm on the mainland from the Isle of Wight, where the rubbish beach is.
So like down here, where my mouse is pointing, like over here?
Like to the left a little bit.
Oh, left? Okay.
Yeah, so just where Portsmouth is.
Portsmouth. Oh, wait. Oh, there it is. I see it. Yeah. Isles of... Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That right here is where you live?
Yeah, where the green beaches are.
That is awesome. That's what the... I don't really look at the UK that much. Oh, and here's Wales. I know Wales. We have someone in chat. Super Mario NES. My fastest time is 8 minutes and 12 seconds. My first ever Mario. Oh, nice. You're a speedrunner? That's awesome. So I wanted to read a couple statistics for you about the UK, now that we're talking about the UK.
Go
The United Kingdom is the leading video game market in Europe and is the sixth largest gaming market worldwide. Over the past few decades, video games have not only become an increasingly popular pastime among players of all ages, but the gaming industry has also evolved into UK's most lucrative entertainment sector. One of the main drivers of market growth in the UK and many other parts of the world was the gaming industry digital transformation. Thanks to new technologies, digital innovation, and a wave of highly anticipated online and mobile releases, digital game revenue in the UK reached a record of $3.5 billion in 2020. That revenue has spiked in recent years and continues to grow worldwide. Does that surprise you, or do you feel like the UK are definitely in this wonderful world of Earth are part of the gaming culture? I think so. I think you guys have a huge market for gaming.
Oh no, yeah, definitely. I know a lot of gamers from the UK, and it's surprising how many there actually are, because I would have thought there would have been less. So before I started doing all the online stuff, I didn't think there was many as there actually are, because we don't have many game stores. You never really see it until you go online.
That's I think of three different parts of the world, right? When I think about video game countries, I think of Japan, obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
I think of the UK and Europe. Not just UK, but I think of Europe as well, because there's lots of gamers in Germany. We have Gamescom in Germany, which is one of the biggest conventions that I want to go to around the world. But I always think of Japan, the UK, and America. I'm sorry, Canada. I'm not forgetting you either. I love you, Canada. I love you. You guys are cool too. Welsh says, Andy, it's me, Daniel Coles. I grinded Phantasy Star 4 end of the millennium to max level experience and max. I guess that's cool. Drink coffee. Oh, Superlit just redeemed drink coffee. All right, Superlit, I'm drinking coffee. So what is this damn PAL region, Danny? What the hell is PAL mean? Do you know what PAL means?
I don't know what it stands for, no.
All right, well, I'm going to help you out here. All right? The PAL region is a publication territory that covers most of Asia, Africa, Europe, South America, and the Oceania areas. It is so named because it's named PAL for phase alternating line. Did you know that? Phase alternating line. That is definitely not what I thought it stand for. It's a television standard traditionally used in those regions as opposed to the NTSC standard traditionally used in Japan and North America. So phase alternating line. So obviously the history of PAL goes back to television, and it goes back to how television is broadcast. So I guess there's your answer. Would you ever have thought it was going to be called phase alternating line? thought
No.
I thought you UK Europeans would have known this.
No, all I know is that PAL runs slower. It sounds slower, and there's a difference in appearance of games. Because I know the PAL region is the same with films, isn't it? Because I only know that because I've got a Region 3 DVD player. Because I don't know if it's changed now, but if I was to buy a DVD from America, I wouldn't be able to play it in my DVD player at home.
Oh yeah, no, it goes. It definitely relates to DVDs, and it was I always found it weird, and people are always like, why didn't they do mass releases back then? But I wanted to talk about that. And if you take a look at this map of the world that I discovered online, the green is NTSC, which is what I grew up playing, and that was the type of region that I grew up in. And you could see that it's actually not a majority of the world, in my opinion. You got Canada, Alaska, Mexico, into South America, just the tip kind of top. Look at South America. It's like a split. It's like the top left side of South America has an NTSC region, and then the rest is PAL. And then obviously your UK is over here, I think, and then a little splacker of blue all around the world, which obviously Australia is fully PAL as well. But then you look at Japan all the way to the right, sitting by itself in the green NTSC standard. So it's so weird that they had all these standards. There's also one called CCAM, which SACAM, I've never heard of that before. But it looks to me though that PAL is a majority of the region in here.
Yeah. Which is odd. I find that really odd.
I guess like being in America, I always like assume like, oh, our standard was always more spread out, but I don't think so. I don't think it was.
I don't really understand why they ever did it, personally.
Welsh says, I'm not exactly a speedrunner, Andy, but I would have to say selected games like Resident Evil, I'm a grinder like my friend. Oh, wow, you're a speedrunner. Okay. And then Jenza says, I discovered the world. Okay, Christopher Columbus. Mikey Loves Records says CCAM is an abbreviation for, I can't see this word. He put it in chat. I can't read it. Interesting. Thank you so much, Mikey Loves Retro. That's actually one I've never really heard of.
Yeah.
But I wanted to read something. So why did they have all these different regions, Danny? Well, many games, particularly early ones, did not have fully working translations ready for every country. To release a game globally, most games have had at least 20 to 30 languages to translate, if not more. This can take a very long time, so different publishers would stagger releases as they became available. Another difficulty was manufacturing and making and burning and shipping box discs or cartridges around the world to make them available. This is both very costly and very time-consuming, with companies sometimes wanting to secure those initial sales in their home country to help fund possibly selling in others. So obviously it was a language barrier, and that is probably a big reason. Does that sound about right to you, Danny?
Yeah, I understand about the budgeting thing as well. They made a few moves with that, like even with packaging, with the budgeting side of things, trying to keep the costs down.
So I want to talk about getting into the NES was released in the UK in 1986, and you have an NES, right?
Yeah.
So what's your connection to the NES from a UK perspective?
God, when did I get one? I probably got one when I was a teenager. I was probably about 13, I think. 14? Yeah, probably around that age. So I was a bit older. And it was like the coolest thing in the world, like where I was older as well. So like where I discovered everything quite late, for me, it was more exciting because I was older. And it was like, even though they were still old back then, it was kind of like I discovered it for the first time. But I think I only had like a couple games, maybe like 6 or 7. And one of them was Battletoads, which is like my favorite NES game of all time. But obviously since then, since I've come over to the collector side of things, like it's just grown, and there's so many good games for the NES, you know.
There's no good games, you said?
So many.
Oh, so many. Yeah, of course.
Oh, what did
I thought I heard you say there were no good games for the NES. I'm like, wait, what? By the way, if anyone wants to learn what CCAM is, Mikey Love Retros threw it in chat. Obviously, it covered countries like the USSR, China, Pakistan, France, a few others. It was a different kind of region. And if you want to read up on that, he threw it on chat. Thanks, Mikey. How about the Mega Drive? Because in the US, we call it Genesis. But what was the culture like for the Mega Drive for you?
It's I think that was like a massive launch in Toys R Us. And to tell the truth, my first Mega Drive I actually got in recent years. So, that's cool. In recent years, in the last 5 years, I got a Mega Drive 2 first, and then that's so cool. Sorry, it's because I haven't got a box one. I'm like blown away by the box.
Yeah, I pulled up. This is the Mega Drive box. This guy's got a complete box here.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I think we had Toys R Us here, which I believe you had, didn't you?
We had Toys R Us. I actually did a funny video on TikTok about about how I miss Toys R Us. I can pull it up real quick. I'll show you. Where is it? Yeah, here it is. Stupid video of me. Like I've been doing these videos. It's kind of like bringing me back.
I love them. You did a really good Blockbuster one.
Oh yeah, the Blockbuster one is good. But this was like my culture growing up at Toys R Us. You know, we had these tickets and all this stuff. And hey, Ham, thanks for joining the chat. Young, what is up? Good to see you, friends in chat. And David Alexander, I wanted to say hi to you as well. Thank you so much for stopping by. Welsh says Sonic was there first. What Sonic was pretty big in the UK, right? With the Mega Drive.
Yeah, it was huge. Oh, that's cool. Toys R Us are actually coming back to business, you know.
Yeah, well, it's not going to be the same, okay? It's not going to be the same.
It will never be the same, but still.
How about the Super NES, the PAL version of the Super NES?
Yeah, it's so different from yours. I think I showed you before.
This is the PAL one, right? Am I wrong?
Yeah, it looks so similar to the Famicom, but again with that, there was like a massive launch for it, and I think again there's so many good games for the SNES, but we don't call it. Well, I don't know if it's just me personally. I never call it the Super Nintendo. I always call it the SNES. Do you always call it the Super Nintendo?
I always call it the NES. I have Super NES, SNES. I never said SNES. I would just go SNES.
I called it the SNES.
The SNES. It sounds like snot. It's like almost like it seems like it should be like something that comes out of your nose, you know?
What, SNES?
Or like some kind of candy, you know? SNES.
Yeah. SNES. It just doesn't sound right. SNES.
Ham says yuck, and Mikey says SNES or Super Nintendo for me. Yeah, I think mostly a lot of Americans say SNES or Super Nintendo.
Yeah. I've only ever call it the SNES.
Welsh says Sega Mega Drive Genesis. I have the Platinum Trophy, Sonic the Hedgehog, Golden Axe, Altered Beast. Awesome games. All awesome games. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Those three in general are awesome. So So were you more of a Nintendo or Sega person, or were you kind of friendly to both before you got into PlayStation and stuff?
Probably Nintendo, because I never ever had a Sega when I was younger.
Why do you think that is? Do you think that has something to do with the UK, or was it just... Well, I guess that's a good question. Do you think more people were Nintendo people in the UK versus Sega people? Or I kind of feel like there's a lot of UK Sega people too. I
think that's age dependent, to be honest. I think
right. I'm really old, so I'm a Sega.
No, you're not.
No, I'm just kidding.
I think it was just like a personal preference, but I don't know if it's because I never personally look for it. I just don't ever really remember seeing much Sega when I used to go into the shop near me. It was mainly Nintendo, but then I don't know if that's because I personally wasn't looking. And I think it's when my dad was into Nintendo as well. It kind of just followed suit with my brother.
And what about the Super Nintendo? We didn't talk about that, and I was curious. What is the Super Nintendo? I'm sorry, the N64. N64 in the UK. Is that something you own? I think you own the N64, correct?
Yeah, I'm trying to get all the different variants of it. So I picked up the Pikachu one a couple of weeks ago, which I was like so excited about. But yeah, no, I've always had an N64. Again, when I was a teenager, I got one of those.
What about so that Pikachu one, is that a PAL version one or is that the US one?
It's PAL. Do you have the release of that? Because I know
I definitely do not have the Pikachu N64.
they want it.
Was that only released in the PAL region, that one?
I don't know. I don't think
Danny,
so.
we were supposed to do your homework. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I'm so bad for stuff.
I'm kidding.
I assume that you guys have the same stuff that we have, but you don't.
That is.
I know there's a lot of different PS2s that we don't have the same of.
Well, that's the problem with regions, is that there were games that were released in the PAL market that weren't released in the US market. There were consoles that were different consoles. It was a big mess, I think. And that's why I like today where things are more universal on release. But like back then, you got to imagine they didn't have the technology to do translations of languages fast. Like that's why they had different regions to roll things out as they got things done, you know, so for different regions. So today, I think it's better. And here's a good look at the Dreamcast. Talk about the Dreamcast. This is an awesome collection, by the way. I saw this pickup that you have on Instagram.
Yeah, that's probably like one of the best pickups I've ever got. Like, quality wise, there was like that box is stunning. Like no dents, no rips, nothing. That's probably like one of the best box consoles I've ever picked up. I love the Dreamcast. Love it. I think it was such a good console, but I think that was because I got the Dreamcast after I got the N64, and I love the N64, but I think everyone will agree with me. I feel like the controller ruined it. For me, personally.
For the you didn't like the Dreamcast controller?
No, the N64. So I got the Dreamcast.
Why does everyone hate the N64 controller? I liked it. And, you know...
Did you?
Yeah, I liked it. Yes. And I'm not going to hate on it because the reason I liked it is because I played so many amazing games on it and I had no problems with it. Like, I
never get along with it. I don't know. I feel like it ruined it for me. And even now, I won't play with an N64 controller. I've got a third-party one, which is similar shape to a PlayStation one.
Youngling says it depends on the size of your hands. If you have big hands, then the N64, Xbox, and PS5 controllers are really good for you. You know, I'm pretty sure I don't have big hands. I'm just like a normal hand person, you know, and I liked it. Youngling says if you have small hands, then GameCube controllers take the cake. Mikey Loves Retro says N64 is my least favorite system. It also did not have the robust library as some of the other systems. Ham says I like the N64 controller, but analog stick was mean and unforgiving. But that's the thing is like I remember so many fond memories of playing Super Mario 64 with the analog controller, playing Bond on the 60. There were still some like great games for the N64, and you had to use that controller.
I know. That's what I mean. It ruined it.
Really? I do. So. I'm not in the majority there. I'm definitely not.
I feel like that's something that a lot of people debate on because some people love it, some people don't, you know. But for me, it wasn't. And I agree with the person that said about the GameCube controller because that still stands as one of my favorite controllers and consoles.
Well, GameCube is proven. What's one of the coolest parts of the GameCube controller and what Nintendo has done is that they've proven that has been a successful controller because it's lived on through different generations, right? When the Wii came out, they allowed you to hook up GameCube controllers into the Wii. And then it's still being used today for the Switch. Like that is like the coolest thing about the GameCube controller. Welsh says, Younglings, the PlayStation 5 controller is the best controller I ever handled. Youngling says, and the Zelda series, that sticks best, but my thumbs up. I keep hearing that from people. I don't have a PS5 yet. I think the PS5 controller is pretty nice. I agree with that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your favorite system and the one that you have the most, the PS1. Tell me a little bit about your experience with this system in the UK.
Oh, I love the PS1. Look at it. It's so difficult when someone asks what your favorite console or game is because I just never have an answer. Like even that's something I've got the most of, and that was my first console for me. That was, and that's probably one that I've got the most favorite games on. I think the PS1 did really well just because everyone had one, like everybody. But then a few years down the line, when the PS2 came out, every PS1 game was like 99 pence. Absolutely worthless, like completely worthless. The only thing that I will say about the cases and the design of them, similar to the Dreamcast, they crack like no tomorrow. That is the only frustrating thing about them. I live and breathe the PS1. Like, I absolutely love it, but that's the only thing I don't like.
All right, so now in the show, we're going to look at every single one of your PS1 games. Let's start with number 1. No, I'm just kidding. You have like 1,000 games.
Extended show if we did that.
Behind you is PS2 games, I see, right? Can you pull one of them out? Can you pull one of those PS2 games out?
What, just at random?
Yeah, because I think the case looks a little different, or it shows the PAL logo on it, correct?
So the side, I don't know if anybody can see, the side, there's no box art down the side. It is just plain, basic, and white. This is Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance, great game. But yeah, can you see?
Yeah.
Is it much different?
I think the American ones was just all black on the side, right? But you have like a white. I think that's kind of cool. It looks kind of nice on the shelf.
Thing. No, I disagree. I think it's a bit boring.
Really?
I kind of like the GameCube, where they have some sort of like color or a little bit of art. I'm just looking at some GameCubes. It's just a lot different to me. I don't know. It's kind of boring. Like, I don't know.
What is your connection with the PS2? That's a big one for you too. You have a like.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, PS2, revolutionary. Loved it. Again, it was the same. It was like everybody had one, and it was great for multiplayer games. It was amazing. I remember when I first got one.
So when we moved into like, I would think so. What was it very popular in the UK? The Sony PlayStation? Do you think?
Yeah, it was like the thing that everybody had.
And was it the same for you guys, where the PS2 came out and it was an affordable DVD player? And I'm sure that was the same for you guys. That's what really sold the PS2 and killed the Dreamcast, because Dreamcast decided not to put a DVD player in their system, which was a big mistake. But did you also use the PS2 to play DVDs?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it played CDs as well.
It did.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, but we had, and I only recently discovered this when we talk about like PAL. We have versions that you don't, and vice versa. So did you have, and I think it was a platinum version of the PS2 that was like a pinky tint, like tinted rose?
I'm not sure. To be honest with you, what's funny about me is I love the PS1, but I didn't have a PS1 when I was growing up. I played it at my friend's house every day. And then I found my first PlayStation was PS2, but I was never like a big Sony fanboy, to be honest with you. I mean, I have a PS5 now and stuff like that, but I was never a big collector. I was a Saturn guy. When the PS1 was out, I was a Saturn guy. I was a Saturn dude, you know, and you know that I'm a big Saturn fan.
You still are, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm a huge Saturn guy. I actually have I finally hooked up my Saturn again to my CRT, so I've been playing a bunch of games, and I think I've been showing some videos too. Let's see, we got Youngling says PS2 is amazing. Welsh says Grand Theft Auto 3 and Final Fantasy X was my first games on the PS2. Mikey Love Retro says my wife bought me one for Christmas and spent a lot of money when it was first released. It was so hard to get it because of the success of the PS1, but now PS2 are very easy to get and have 2 of them. What's up, Al? Good morning. Welcome to the chat. Welsh says, yep, silver, Danielle. Danny, PS2 Platinum cases are silver.
Yeah, but there was a console release of the Platinum PS2 as well, which was silver, because there's a few that come in different colors. But I believe there's a version which I want, which only you guys have, which is the Platinum PS2, but it's like a nice tinted rose, because I picked up a PS2 Slim in hot pink, and I have a lot of American gamers on Twitter who are like, oh my goodness, I've never seen this before. What the hell? Like, it was like no one had ever seen it or knew about it.
Is this it? The pink one? Is it pink?
The Slim, yeah.
Here it is.
Let me see.
Hold on, let me pull it up. Yeah,
a PS2 Slim. Do you have that there?
I have like 8 of these right behind me. I got 8 PS2 Slim pinks. I'm all about these. No, I don't know anything about these. I do have a Slim though. I have a Slim, but it's all black.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But then there's a chunky version, which you guys have that we don't. So it just swing and roundabouts, and I think it is just with things like that, it's unfair because I want stuff that you guys have.
By the way, the Slim is awesome because it's like a PS2 mini back in the day. Let me go grab it real quick.
They had like the PS1, the smaller version, which you could get the flip screen for.
Okay.
That was.
Hold on. Sorry, I ran away. I'm here.
Okay.
So here's my PS2 Slim, which is freaking so cool, so small, and my favorite part is the way it opens.
I love it. Love it. I was just saying there's the smaller version of the PS1 as well, which is just called like the PS1. I've got one of those.
Oh, the PS1 0 ONE.
Yeah, ONE, yeah. And you can get the little screen for it.
I'll show that one too. Let's look at that. What's up, Sanity? Is that Sanity in chat? All right. Good to see you, man. This is the PS1.
That's so cute.
Oh man, this photo didn't pull up. This site's gonna like freeze my computer. I'm pulling up. That was DK Oldie's site. Whoops.
What was that?
Here we go. That's the PS1. There we go. Much better.
I've got one, but I'd like to, and I haven't been able to find one. I can only find 3 like third party like Logic ones. I want the official screen for it because I just think that's awesome, and I know that the GameCube's got one as well.
We got a big question here, Danny. Al says, this might be a loaded question, but I asked it on TikTok for anyone to answer, and I'd love your input. What's your year minimum to define something as retro? Oh, God, we're going down this rabbit hole. Al, all I'm going to say, man, is retro depends on you. Like, when were you born? What's your connection to retro gaming? If you were born and the N64 was your first console, then that's retro to you. So I think it just depends on the person. To be honest, my personal opinion is like anything PS, like I think now Xbox PS2 and under it's becoming, but I think as we get older and as the generations grow, what's retro to you depends on you. Do you agree with that, Danny?
Yeah, I think that's a really good answer because if you think about someone who might be like 10 years old, the Wii is 15 years old now. So to them, that would be considered retro because that is a very big jump backwards from the Switch. So I think your answer was like spot on with that. I think it depends on the person.
Mikey says retro to me is if you can't buy it in retail store brand new. Yeah. Genzo says some people consider previous gens. I think it's because look, we're going to be in 20. Here's the problem right now with the future of retro gaming is that as we move into this digital age, you're not going to have the tangible things to hold on to that are nostalgic and retro. We're going into this digital world where 20 years from now, I believe, Danny, that the next generation of consoles is going to be completely digital. No more CDs, no more nothing. And that's
it's profitable for the companies. It's profitable because they don't have to mass produce anything. They don't need to spend out on materials, everything. I think on a budget wise, for the companies, it would be wise. But then for people like us, I don't like digital games. I like to have the physical copy of something where it comes with a case. And even for me, where a Switch game doesn't come with a manual, makes me sad. So I think it is happening.
Super Mario says NFTs are bullshit. I want to say it in his voice. PS7 will be an NFT. You might be right, man. You might be right. The problem for me is that we are heading into this terrible age of not having, like, the problem with digital is you don't own it. You have the right to own it. Like when you buy a game on Steam, as long as Steam exists as an actual company and brand, you have the right to own. But what happens in 10 years, something bad happens and they go bankrupt and they go off the internet, that game is gone forever. So I could turn around and take an NES game and I could actually hold that into my hands. That's retro. And I think as we get older, it's not going to be called retro gaming anymore. It's going to be called antique gaming because that's what's going to happen. What do you think of that, Danny?
I think it is going to happen. If you think about it, we have kind of seen this happen when we lost Blockbuster. It happened with films. It happened with VHS. Like, even though they are still around, nowadays, I think personally, it's quite rare for somebody to go out and buy a DVD. We have Netflix, Amazon, Naughty, all of these things that will be gaming. Yes, they do still make and sell DVDs, but not a lot to keep a video like store, you know.
The world's changing, like, Danny, and it's really it's changing. I'm really curious about, like, you know, that's a good question, Al. And I didn't mean to derail, but we are towards the end of the show, so I think it's appropriate to talk about this. I'm scared because I think that, you know, people are not going to, you know, kids that get older, their experience of like retro collecting won't exist. And in 10 years, it's going to be harder and harder to buy these retro games. And I'm just grateful that I started collecting again 10 years ago. I'm grateful that my mom threw out my retro games, but not all of them. I'm not grateful, but I mean, she sparked the reason why I started to rebuild my childhood, I like to say. Wow, we got a lot of people in chat. So Al says, the youngest retro example for me personally is the original Xbox, like you mentioned earlier. That's all my favorite console. I was playing the Fantastic Four video game last night based on the 2005 movie. Now that's huge nostalgia boost for you. And Al, that makes sense. You're younger. You skew a lot younger, but that's where you started. So that's retro to you. Mikey says they're trying to force digital gaming, but society is not ready for it. People still want physical copies. I don't completely agree with that, Mikey. There's people out there that don't care about physical copies and would be just happy streaming a game on Game Pass. You know, I think that there's still a lot of people that believe in the digital age too. Us as collectors, absolutely with you on that. Superlit Mario says, Nintendo, I think, will stay true to the physical. They love charge a bomb for games, and I think the cartridge will be around for a while. Sanity says, the younger generation doesn't care about physical as much. True. Al says, I'm physical media collector, but primarily for films. Yeah, I mean, what do you think, Danny? I want to know what you think. Do you think that we're heading into the digital age? You think physical is going to go away? You think, like, even Nintendo will go away from physical one day?
Yeah, I think we'll be alive to see it happen. Personally, I genuinely I can see it happening, because if you think of it from like a business point of view, it would save them a lot of money to do that. Yes, it would lose them money because they do charge more for physical copies, but how much it costs to mass produce that, I think we will be alive in a day and age where most things are digital. I think personally,
it's already happened to movies. You know, I sold my DVD. I probably regret it, but I sold my complete DVD collection because it was taking up all this room, and I was full on. I personally don't collect, you know, DVDs. I don't give a crap about DVDs because I have the ability to stream movies anytime I want. Though I did start collecting VHS tapes because I love VHS for some reason.
I think that is a little bit different as well, because my brother's girlfriend, she comes to the car boot sales with us, and that is the number one thing I will find there: VHS and DVDs and CDs. And even again with the CD thing, CD players, I'd never see them anymore. They don't even build them in cars anymore. Like, if you go to get a new car, there's not a CD player in it because nobody really buys CDs. It's Apple Music, it's Spotify, it's whatever else music streaming platforms there are, you know? I feel like it is happening personally. So I feel like if it's already going down that route with music, DVDs, who's to say that it won't with games?
Yeah, I think we're on that track. John, and welcome to chat, John. Buying and selling games is still a thing. Half-price books is alive and well. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely. Mikey says, that's why parents who are gamers need to educate their children. My son knows more than most retro gaming than some collectors do. Personally, my son also prefers physical copies because he wants to open the game and expression on his face. But Mikey, not everyone is like you. Not everyone is like us, where we're retro collectors and we're able to show our people. I got friends that are parents that don't give a crap about games, and they don't educate their sons. They throw an iPad in front of them and they put their hands up and walk away. That's the horrible truth. But I appreciate you, Mikey, for educating your kid about retro game, and that's important. Sanity Crypto says, my friends make fun of me for being able to play with them at midnight for some game releases since I always ordered the disc. Go ahead, Danny. Sorry.
Oh, what?
I thought you were going to say something. Sorry, I was reading all these comments.
Oh, no, it's fine. I was just listening. It's fine.
These are great. Thanks everyone for
Yeah.
contributing today. These are awesome thoughts. Al says, I don't think physical will go away as quick as people think, but it's just me. Vinyl has been making a huge comeback over the past few years, selling far more than they first became popular in the 80s again and the 70s. John says they allow for digital sales and the day it goes away. Jenzo says, oh man, magnetic tape media, that will literally degrade good lurk achieving. And Mikey says, I agree. Wow, lots of great perspectives here, Danny. We are getting close to this hour. Did you have a lot of fun today? I thought I had a...
Yeah, I love chatting with you. It's been fun.
Yeah.
There's been some really good questions as well.
I think it's been really cool. It really sparked a lot of good conversation in chat too. I do have one thing. So before we start a podcast, I posted on Twitter, what part of the world did you live in when you played video games as a kid? And it looks like we got a bunch of people that commented. I want to read these and see what people, get a little culture in us. Sophia says Amurka. She spelled it Amurka. Gamer Clone, who's a TikToker, says, mostly in Tennessee. I moved to Arizona in my early teens. My first 3 years in the Navy was in Japan, and I discovered so much more in the gaming living there. Dr. Gaming grew up in Venezuela. Grim says, moved a lot during my youth. France, Norway, French, Guatemala, and regional islands. Oh, wow. Moved between Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Florida. We got a lot of Americans here. I'm looking for some other international people. We got Indiana. We got France. We got another UKer over here. That's New York. That's the New York flag. We got Miami. Look at all these wonderful parts of the world. England, Los Angeles, my bedroom. Let's see if he replied. I asked him, where's your bedroom? And he says, upstairs in my parents' house. You know what, Lord? You're going to play games with me and troll me. Anyway, Danny, it is such a pleasure. I know we could probably keep talking for like another 3 hours if we wanted to, but it's a podcast. We got to keep it concise. And just wanted to say, what can we, I know that I think you were kind of taking sort of a social break, but, tell us a little bit about where are the best places to find you and follow your journey in retro gaming?
Probably Twitter or TikTok. TikTok's getting better. I think it's a very up and down platform, but at the end of the day, I do enjoy it, and that is where I met most of the people that I love the most. So probably TikTok or Twitter. Not
awesome.
Quite ready.
And let me put your link tree. Your link tree is in chat. So everyone that wants to follow Danny, and she, I've been pulling people over to Twitter from TikTok. So you
are the one who converted me.
I converted a lot of TikTokers, trust me, because I noticed there was all these TikTokers that were just on TikTok. And I'm like, come over to Twitter. But I do want to mention before we go, we started the retro gaming community on Twitter about a month and a half ago. And shout out to Younglings, who was in chat. She's one of my moderators, and she's amazing. Also was on the show here. The retro gaming community is pretty much an exclusive, but anyone can join, and it's only sharing retro-centric content. And if you don't want to share your pickups on a main feed, you have stuff that you want to share personal that you don't want to share in the main feed, you could share it within the community here. And I'm so happy to announce that once we hit 1,200 members, we're doing a giveaway with the game store in LA called Game Tower, which Danny is one of my local shops here. They're going to be donating a game for our 1,200th member. And we just did a giveaway with J&L Games, which is a game shop in NYC, and they donated Metroid to someone in the gaming community. So our giveaways will always be connected to a donation from a shop, some kind of store. DK Oldies was our first giveaway. They gave away Tetris on the NES to one of our community members. But we're growing this community because it's positive. It's about community. And if you're going to come into our community and try to mess around, we're going to knock you right out. Because I got Younglings in chat, and she's one of the best moderators, and she won't mess around. Also, shout out to Pete, who's my other moderator as well. And if you're interested in joining, I'm going to put if you are on Twitter. I'm going to put the link to the community in chat. You're welcome to join. Come on in. Tell us about your stuff. You can see here we got tons of awesome posts, just people sharing pickups and all that jazz. I know you're in there, Danny. Thank you so much. And just want to spread the love because I'm trying to create a safe place for retro gamers to be and share their love of gaming. But Danny, it was so much fun to hang out with you. I love this.
Thank you for asking me.
Of course. And it's really nice to have perspective of someone on the other side of the world. I know this is a morning podcast, but technically it's the late afternoon for you.
5.
Any final thoughts before we get going here?
Everyone's questions were really, really nice. And it was just nice for everyone to come and hang out. And obviously, thank you for asking me. I really appreciate it.
It's awesome. No, I really had a great time today. This is a really cool episode. And I just want to say a big thank you to everyone on VOD. I know that everyone can't make it to the lives, but thank you so much for supporting my YouTube channel. I just want to say we crossed 100 subscribers on YouTube. I just started my YouTube. I know it's not like a lot of people, but to me that means a lot. So thank you so much for supporting the YouTube. And if you want to watch any older episodes, all the VODs are available on YouTube, and we are posting this episode immediately after the live here. So Danny, I'll share that around. Again, thank you everyone in chat so much for supporting the show. We are back next week with a guest. I'll make the announcement next week. And guess what? Every Saturday this month, we have a guest, Danny. Every Saturday this month. So I am so stoked. And again, you can follow all my socials below. I'm Andy. That's Danny. And that's it. I hope everyone enjoys their Saturday and their weekend. Danny, I hope you enjoy your weekend. And thanks so much for hanging out.
Thank you.
It was awesome. Thank you so much, everyone. All right, that's it.
Thank you.
Let's
see you
wave
later.
goodbye. Goodbye.
I don't know if you can see me this way.